He's an evolutionary biologist turned celebrity atheist. He's sold millions of books since he published The Selfish Gene in 1976, and his last book was The God Delusion, which came out in 2004. Richard Dawkins, you've talked a lot in terms of religion being a pernicious virus. When you talk in those sort of emotional, quite visceral terms, are you doing that to sort of raise hackles and therefore the debate, do you think?
I don't think I've talked a lot about it being pernicious. I'm not even sure I ever used the word pernicious.
But virus is a word you've
certainly
definitely
virus. And the point there is really not the pernicious, although I actually think it is pernicious. The point there is that it's something that grips the mind in the same way as a conventional virus, grips the, in that it takes control, and it does so the better to propagate.
But in choosing words like that, or on occasion I've read that you've said you despise organised religion, or religious belief actually, they're very emotive terms for someone from an academic. Are you doing that because you feel it's in the interests of the cause that you're pursuing, that debate is quite highly charged?
I wonder if they're as emotive as you think they are. I suspect that because we've all been brought up with this sort of culture of respecting religion, that anything comparatively mild sounds more than it really is. I mean, do you really despise religious belief? I despise people who believe something without evidence and then go out and take action which other people. Yes. So I despise people whose belief in religion is so firm and so unshakable that they actually think it justifies killing people. And there are, of course, many people like that. But
your average devout who's sitting in a pew of a Sunday morning, you don't despise them.
No, of course I don't, no.
What are your feelings towards them?
Well, I mean, they're harmless, especially, I mean, they're harmless. I don't have strong feelings one way or the other. No, of course I don't despise them.
Here's the thing. I have thought about the tenets, certainly, of Christian belief. And as far as believing in God is concerned, sort of found them wanting, or myself unable to be convinced. But I still think I can't possibly know whether God exists or not anymore. I mean, am I being sort of, what's the word? Oh, weak-willed, guilty of not having the courage of my convictions?
No, I mean, I'm an agnostic too in that sense. In The God Delusion, I made a 7-point. One was total conviction that there is a God, and 7 is total conviction that there isn't. And I put myself as a 6. Okay, so that's kind of agnostic, but veering towards atheist. And I would be a 6 with respect to fairies and pixies and things like that. But there are people who will say, because they're agnostic, that puts them absolutely right in the middle. The probability of there being a God and there not being a God is exactly. And that, I think, is the wrong sort of agnostic to be, because I think you can sort of put a probability figure on it. You can say, well, I think a God is very, but I can't actually disprove it. So I'm not a 7. I'm a 6.5 or something like that. And that's where I would put myself.
What about the fact that religion, in terms of its institutional influence, persists? Does that irritate you? Or
it's weird that those countries that have sort of the trappings of theocracy remaining, like Britain, because we have bishops in the House of Lords, and we have lots and lots of faith schools, and we have is the head of the Church of England. It's an odd thing that those countries, like Britain, like the Scandinavian countries, which have an established church, seem to be religious. And a country like America, which has written into its the separation between church and state, a wall of separation, as Jefferson called it, is one of the most religious countries, the most religious country in the Western world.